Welcome back to the Lift Free and Diet Hard podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Coates. Join me along with industry leaders and friends on a quest to get more people through the gym door and eating and living healthier. Join me where evidence meets empathy while rejecting fitness industry fads and extremism. Let's begin. Abby Langer. Okay, this one I'm looking forward to. I look forward to them all, but this one's been fun because I love your media. You are a dietitian, an author. You're actually on the Men's Health Magazine Nutrition Advisory Board, and you're a regular contributor to them, to CBC, to USA Today, Forbes, lots of mainstream media outlets. And like I said, one of the most delightfully scorched earth follows on social media for debunking, well, let's call it bullshit. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go right into the good stuff. Talk to me about the negative reaction Serena Williams was getting for taking and endorsing GLP-1 agonist medications.
Yeah, it's always open season on women's bodies, and people feel as though they have the right to comment negatively and positively about women and how we look and what we think, and it must be very hard for athletes and celebrities or whoever to live that way. But what I was saying about Serena Williams is that we don't know her background story, right? And so judging her for being on a GLP-1 agonist medication and promoting it is not what we should be doing. Like, do we not have anything else to talk about? And people were saying, is she taking the easy way out, which is so obnoxious. Do you know this person? Like, do you know her struggles? Probably not. And just, can we not leave women's bodies alone? I saw the same thing with Jessica Simpson recently, where Jessica Simpson actually finally looks healthy. She looked quite unwell for a long time, sunken eyes, just like not doing well. And I'm saying that as a health professional. She goes to the VMAs and all people can talk about is how she looks, how much filler she has in her lips, how crazy she looks, and whatever. And it's like, why do you think celebrities feel the need to fit a certain ideal? It's because we are holding them to that ideal. And the most concerning and distressing part of it all is that I feel like it's mostly women doing it to other women. So
this episode is brought to you by Macros First. I've always struggled with nutrition tracking apps, even the slightest hassle or friction, and it breaks my habit. That changed with Macros First. When I tried it, I told my friend, the founder, Jacob, quote, this is, well, let's just call it a certain other app on steroids. It's the easiest app to use, and it has a free barcode scanner, which if you use tracking apps, you know this is a really big deal. I recommend Macros First to all my clients and friends, and even had them sponsor my 2024 conference. Here's an example feature that I love. The verified food database. Remember using other apps and searching for a food only to find 10 to 50 similar options with different macros, not knowing which one to pick. This kind of friction is the shit that made me quit tracking altogether. Macros First, every single food item in the database, over 3 million of them, is human verified. No junk entries, so you can trust the numbers. Plus, that free barcode scanner makes logging faster. And if the barcode doesn't turn anything up, just point your camera at the nutrition label and Macros First will extract all the nutrition info instantly. All this just makes tracking easier. And while Macros First's premium version is incredible for any user, the basic version, which is nowhere near basic, is free to use. So you can go to either the Apple Store or Google Play to download. A couple things I'll try to throw out here that set you loose again. One is I have Dr. Sue Kleiner booked for the near future. And Sue is an icon of nutrition, and she'd worked with Serena. So I'm actually going to dive deeper with her into the duality of pressure for women, I think more than men, to both appeal to aesthetic goals and outward pressure, maybe internal pressure and performance. Because I'm old enough to have grown up on women's tennis in the era of Martina Navratilova, Chrissy Everett, Steffi Graf. And that ages me a little bit. But I remember, at least I have this perception that back then commentators would talk about
the appearance and the physiques of female athletes in a way that would never happen with men. Is that true?
I don't like tennis. No offense. But yeah. I mean, if you're talking about the standards that we're held to as women in society, then absolutely. I mean, I'm actually researching this now, and we know that even with newborn, female newborns are told, or the comments we make about female newborns and moving into like young children is that girls are pretty and boys are physically able. So it's like in our culture to focus on appearance. We are literally brought up as women to feel as though our appearance is the most important, most interesting thing about us. And as we age, it's problematic altogether, but like as we age, we become invisible because aging and women, it's like, it's just people feel like aging and attractiveness, they're not congruent. And so we know that if you sustain an attractive appearance, you get more attention, you get more things. It's very fascinating.
This episode is brought to you by Just Bite Me Meals. I work long days and I won't compromise my client experience or sacrifice my workout, sleep, or nutrition. So I needed a quality and reliable meal prep service so I could save time on cooking and shopping and have more time for the stuff that matters. Net out the cost of groceries and the service isn't as much as you might think, and regular impulsive food delivery apps, eating out, that costs way more anyway. I get more meal variety and less dishes to clean, and I've been referring clients to Just Bite Me Meals for a long time, and I recently started ordering myself. Food is great. The beef brisket tacos are my favorite so far, and there's a lot of menu choice. Your calories and macros are listed. The portions are great. You can order custom meals. They deliver to your door, or you can pick up from their storefront. And I'm sorry to listeners outside of Alberta, but Just Bite Me Meals is currently just in Edmonton, Calgary, Grand Prairie, and Fort McMurray. Ordering from Just Bite Me Meals made my life easier instantly. And you can get 10% off on all your orders using my code, Andrew Coates Fitness, all caps, on their website. That's Andrew Coates Fitness, all capitals, or go to the link and the code in the show notes.
You made me think of Hollywood, which is probably the most visible microcosm for this, even if it's not reality. And I think about two things. One, a lot of the popular leading men in the industry, Harrison Ford, being one of many examples, Sean Connery, and they can age into remaining, Tom Cruise can age into remaining these A-list leading men, where how many women approach, God, their 50s, let alone their 60s, who are leading actresses and this stuff. And it makes me think of Pamela Anderson, who was crucified for a long time for, her quote, artificial appearance and what she's doing on our body. And then now, what is she being crucified for? Coming out and not wearing makeup and going completely the other direction.
Women are never the right age, and we're never good enough in terms of how we look. You look at also Justine Bateman, who, remember, was on Family Ties, that show, and she refuses to do any sort of injectable or plastic surgery or whatever, and she has quite a few wrinkles on her face. People just drag her for that. But you're right. There is this, duality where it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. We just can't win as women. And again, why are we still talking about this? Why is it even a thing? Why? And it really reflects our society's perception of women, but also of aging, and how we feel that it is just an ugly process when it is the most natural process of all. We're all going to age. We're all going to die. Like,
how much of this comes from mom, metaphorically and literally? And that's not to vilify mom, because I think about what media was mom exposed to. And to frame this, I coach a fair number of women who are probably in that like 35 to 50 age range. And whenever I have this conversation, oh my God, they light up. And a lot of them talk about having been raised, and mom is the main influence, that their value is in their smallness, their thinness, their leanness, their attractiveness to a partner. But mom herself is probably a victim of what? The beauty magazines. I'm going to crucify Oprah on this one here, but there's a quote I've heard. Oprah is the greatest perpetuator of diet culture, but also a victim of it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we know for a fact, and in one of my more recent reels, actually the last one, the one that I did with Beth, that we were talking about the effect of parenting on a kid's relationship with food. And I cited a bunch of research studies about how, especially in females, the mom's relationship with food, diet habits, her attitudes towards bodies, food, other people's bodies, her own body, really shape the child's relationship with food and their perception of, worthiness as related to their appearance.
Okay.
Keep going.
No, you first, please.
Well, beauty has always been currency for women, right? And at first, it was a matter of survival. Being beautiful in like a long, long time ago meant that you were more likely to marry a guy who was, had social status, who had money, and if he left or died, you'd be set up for life. This was like a long time ago, but now we still retain these fucked up values. Can I swear?
Yes, please. The more, the better, I'm sure. I mean, Beth Baracco, for example, your friend, you mentioned you did a thing. Beth's a friend. She's been on before. She's great. So yeah. Perfect.
Then you definitely allow swearing. So we still retain these values that are so messed up about appearance, weight, attractiveness, and our worth and value in society as women. And as far as, and yes, there is generational, it's very generational in terms of the thinking, but also the trauma that comes with it, right? Because I see these people all the time in my practice where, they weren't allowed to have seconds, but their brothers were. These are females. Their parents put them on diet pills when they were 11, on Weight Watchers at 6. Like all of these things, parents commented negatively about their bodies or other people's bodies. And they grow up with these like negative core beliefs where it's like, unless I look a certain way, I am not presentable to the world, and nor am I worthy.
What can mom do, the moms listening do, young children, to change the pattern without walking on eggshells with everything they say and do?
Well, it's hard. I mean, you change the pattern, first of all, by modeling the behavior that you want to see. So like not using fat as a derogatory word, not making comments about people's bodies, allowing your kids to serve themselves food and not restricting them. I know that's hard too. It's hard. I'm a mom of 2 teenage girls. I've been through it. I continue to go through it. How do you talk about food and set limits and parent without giving your kid an eating disorder? We all struggle with it, right? But you model this behavior, and you have to have boundaries, though. Like, no, you can't eat an entire tub of Nutella for lunch. Have some other food, right? But, not assigning morality-based labels to food, like good or bad or crap or whatever. All of this plays a big part in your kids' relationship with food and their bodies. And if you're dieting in front of your kids, or looking at yourself and saying, I look so fat, or look at my thighs, or this dress makes me look awful, like fat or whatever, please stop. Because no matter how young your kids are, they absorb that either through verbal cues or nonverbal, and it is lethal.
The women I've worked with who've struggled the most with this stuff have heard and modeled this stuff. And the thing I've said in numerous media before, and I like this, is if you can realize that where all these beliefs came from, you can realize these beliefs don't belong to me.
No.
They came from somewhere else. And I love the word artifacts and I love the word downloaded. I like the word artifact. I use it deliberately because then it creates some separation from potentially from you and a belief system. And I think it's the starting point of being able to say, this no longer stirs me. I don't need it. I can work on letting it go.
I love that. And I say the same thing to my clients, but it's more like, this isn't your shit. It's somebody else that they, blabbed all over you when you were 8. And, telling people to really listen to what they're saying about themselves, to themselves, about themselves. Whose voice is that in? Is this your voice, or is it like your aunt who used to tell you that you were fat when you were 12, like at the Thanksgiving dinner table? If it is somebody, it's usually somebody else's voice, because we're not born with these criticisms. Then if it's somebody else's voice, tell them to go fuck themselves. Not in real life. And consider, like, would you say these things to a person who you love? If the answer is no, you should not be saying them to yourself.
I like that.
Sad, though. It's sad. And I have women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond who continuously berate themselves out loud, but in their minds. And it's their tape, right? And they don't even realize they're doing it. And it becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy where they feel so shitty about who they are when it has nothing to do. Their appearance and their diet has nothing whatsoever to do with, them as a person. And these ideas have been just planted in their head, and they took seed long, long, long ago.
I'll bring this full circle back to Serena Williams and the GLP-1 agonist medication. And I've observed something, and I want your thoughts. One, we definitely know that one side of, let's call it a spectrum, are antagonistic towards GLP-1s, as you alluded to. They think it's cheating. And I think that group, their status exists with it. Their relevance is in their physiques, and therefore they feel threatened. But I've noticed a trend, quite frankly, amongst what I would consider to be the other end of the spectrum, the evidence-based side, that are almost equally as antagonistic and gatekeepy about GLP-1s, because it's almost as if they're very militant that they can only be used in these environments. And there was a negative reaction to, let's say, Jordan Syatt openly experimenting with that. And as I understand the research, it seems like there's more and more positivity about effects on addiction and other things. I think there's more research needed. And I see that there's gatekeeping from the other side. And I wondered, did they fear losing status and relevance as well, that this drug could come in and just change everything?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not sure. I can't speak for those people. But I think in nutrition and science and in life in general, we have to stay away from the extremes on both ends, and come to a more reasonable conclusion. GLP-1 agonist medications are highly effective for most people, and they, without a doubt, will change and even save many people's lives. Okay. It is up to us as health professionals to recommend them or suggest them to people who qualify for them, not for, people who want to fit into like a certain size of jeans and don't have any weight to lose. But I don't know that. I know what Jordan Syatt did. I don't know that I'm opposed to it. I feel like, we're just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of the benefits of GLP-1 agonists. But on the flip side, we don't know, really what happens to the body over time when we take them for things other than diabetes. Right.
Sure.
But so what Jordan did, I just think like he was being Jordan. He does that kind of stuff. I don't find it a negative. I don't find it negative at all. I think it was cool, actually. And he found out that he was experiencing a lot of food noise and it was impacting him in his daily life. And, I think that's a valuable finding. Do I think that everybody needs to try GLP-1 agonists to see if they have food noise? No. But, there are people who are more rule followers and all of that. I mean, we just need to find a more moderate stance on things and stop looking at what everybody else is doing.
I love it. All right. You showed a video of a guy offering to buy all of a table of Girl Scout cookies and then proceeded to lecture the kids about how toxic the cookies were. Have we hit peak grifter soullessness for fear-mongering about chemicals yet?
I don't know. There's so many soulless grifters out there, and they just keep popping up like cockroaches. So you smash one and like 5 emerge. It's just the explosion of people who are less than unqualified to talk about nutrition, but still do on social media is causing a lot of confusion around food and eating, but and chemicals, but also it's just like it's so much misinformation that people don't know how to eat or eat anymore or what to eat. It's very harmful, actually.
I often think about this. Social media, for good and for ill, has removed all the gatekeepers about who are qualified experts in the industry, right?
Right.
And I'm going to be harsh here. I think that we live in a society where humans crave status. We are status-seeking machines. Our brain works that way. And social media is a shortcut to status. And some people have figured out, and I'm going to say completely useless individuals have figured out that if they say a certain thing in front of a camera, walking through an aisle in Costco, dancing and pirouetting and saying that Nutella is bad, we'll get to that girl too. I fight my urge to make ad hominem attacks with that girl. I feel really bad about it. But anyway, I actually think that we have a lot of useless human beings who figured out that they can get into the fitness industry or adjacent wellness industries and gain following and relevance. I mean, it's like, I don't even like saying his name because it usually winds people up, but a certain individual who just like goes into grocery store aisles and yells at breakfast cereal, right?
I mean, it could be so many, but yeah, it's so infuriating for people who legitimately base their recommendations on science, and are qualified, myself included, when people push the dumbest information and that they're just doing it for shock value, which will get them a lot of views. Like I'm almost 53 years old. I have less than 0 fucks to give about my status or my follower count. I don't care. What I care about and what I've always cared about is, am I disseminating the best, most current information about nutrition out there? And how can I help people? Not like, oh my God, I'm going to say what you shouldn't eat because it's so toxic just so I can get followers. But the world, you're right. It's full of people like that now. It's pathetic and it's not getting any better. It's like actually getting worse because some of those people are unfortunately credentialed professionals who we should be able to trust. And that is like, that's even beyond, right? It's the worst.
I mean, I'll even say it like, was it the carnivore doc?
Yeah. Paul Saladino. Yeah. I mean, there's him, there's Bobby Parrish, who like, oh my God, even Mark Hyman. Like I'm always fighting about Mark with people because they think he's so great, but he's not. He spreads misinformation. He's elitist. He's like, he uses animal studies or no studies at all to promote his products. Like wake up. This is what he's doing. He's like just pushing a brand, right? How many books has he written? Like, how many books do you have to write about the way to eat before it's like, okay, well, your first book was about this was the best way to eat, and now your second book is now this is the best way to eat. Like, what the fuck? For someone who's pushing longevity, like, come on. Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to take $100 supplements. No, I'll die like 5 days early. Thank you very much.
I got blocked by Dr. James D. Nicolantino.
Oh, he blocked me so long ago. He hates me because he's
Well-
such a grifter. He's a total grifter.
It was plagiarizing a whole bunch of like, and I normally don't call people out, but fuck it. He'll take like a lot of like sensible posts. It's kind of the old David Avocado Wolf playbook where it's like,
Ugh.
oh, here's this fluffy positive thing about a kitten. And then, oh, here we've got like mushrooms are from outer space or some other sort of really batshit crazy stuff. So Nicola Gito will drop, oh, like drink more water and sleep better and exercise and what have you. It turns out he's actually plagiarizing a lot of the stuff from other people. We documented it. We kind of went at him. He blocked everybody. All great. And then he shares nonsense like how salt is the fix to everything.
I know. And this is the problem with so many of these people. James has published research, right? We feel like we should be able to, I know it's so crazy. We should be able to trust them. And the way they talk is they're so confident. And they insert kernels of truth in their dumpster fire fucking bullshit. So it sounds all sciencey and real. And yeah, that sounds like it could be true. But the majority of what they say is not. To be honest with you, Andrew, like if someone that this is a problem I have like with someone like Mary Claire Haber, who's like the menopause guru. I have a lot of problems with her, but one main problem I have with her is that a lot of what she says is fine. But then she says something that is so fucking out there that it just anything she said from that moment on, it delegitimizes everything for me. If you can say what you've just said, whatever it is, with such confidence and knowingly mislead people, I can't trust any of your content. What else?
There could be people listening who are like, some of the names get thrown around, but I like that person, And I want you guys not to be offended by the suggestion here. It's like, okay, open mind to be like, okay, well, what are the legitimate criticisms? For me, what I tend to do, I mean, this, and I'm fine with it. This is a bit of a departure where we're actually literally slinging mud at people, but I like to go follow Jen Gunter, right? Dr. Jen Gunter, who's great. I recently had Amanda Thebe on, if you really want to get into menopause stuff. And Amanda's then a great clearinghouse for the better authorities. I had Dr. Lauren Colenso Semple on, and we talked a lot about, she's great. She's doing wonderful things. Guys, if you guys want to listen to any of those episodes, message me personally. I will literally send it to you. They're great. And so again, platform, I brought you on here and everybody now can see what I enjoy about your media so much, like just no punches pulled. Let's go back to some of these other things. And I want to see your thoughts on, again, the fear mongering about chemicals and what have you. We've got the idiot with the Girl Scout cookies. There's an influencer claiming that crumble cookies is the most dangerous chemical laden thing. She said it would have been better for her to drink gasoline. At what point can we just stop taking these people seriously?
I mean, now would be a great time. Like 5 minutes ago would have been a better time, or 5 months ago, 5 years ago. Anyone who speaks in absolutes, obviously is doing it for shock value. And you don't want to trust these people with your health and wellness. The person talking about that she'd rather drink gasoline than eat a crumble cookie. I mean, like, no reasonable person would say that. I'm sorry, but that is ridiculous. First of all, I made a reel about that, and I went through the ingredient list of a bunch of crumble cookies. I found nothing toxic, but everything is chemicals, because guess what? Everything is made of fucking chemicals. And so, like, just because you don't recognize thiamine monohydrate, which is vitamin B1, like, doesn't mean it's toxic or a chemical, like, scary. It's people who talk in absolutes that try to scare us away from foods that are perfectly safe. Are crumble cookies like what I would recommend we eat for a health promoting diet? I mean, every once in a while they're fine. I personally think they're disgusting, but like, I eat Doritos. I drink Coke Zero. Like, do I do that every day? No, but to tell people that they should never be eating these foods because they're going to die if they do is so offside and just plain fear mongering and just going for clicks instead of actually exploring the nuance that is nutrition. right? People eat ultra processed food. People eat crumble cookies and Oreos and Orange Crush Zero. They taste great. And some of these foods are convenient. They're cheaper. Like, how about we work with people where they're at and get them to add food to their diet? How about we become pencils, not erasers, right? Adding, not subtracting, instead of telling people that, something bad's going to happen if they have a cookie.
And then we've got idiots saying that oatmeal is bad for us, that spinach is bad for us. It never ends.
Oh yeah, vegetables are bad for us. Fiber is bad for us. Like, the preponderance of evidence says otherwise. And that should be your first clue that these people are not who you should be getting your health and nutrition advice from, period. Like, the problem is that most people are science illiterate. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. People don't know, or are too afraid they don't know how to read a scientific paper. So they're like, oh, well, what they're saying sounds right, or they're saying there's evidence behind it. Meanwhile, the evidence is like on fucking 4 rats, in some corner of the world, that, like, whatever. But that's how people get swindled into thinking that these unqualified people make sense. Right. And so it's easy for anyone to go online and say, like, you should have eating this, and here's the evidence. But all they're saying is like garbage.
And it's astonishing to me that, again, you get this girl that dances and twirls in Costco. The audio listeners, Abby's rolling her eyes hard. It's great. That anything about her presentation could be seen as being scientific or evidence-based. I think at a certain point, people just follow to laugh at her. I don't know.
And people are so mean about her. Like, I posted about her and I got so many negative, and I never do this. I had to turn off the comments because people were such assholes about her appearance and about mine. And I was just like, I don't have the bandwidth after like a year of this. I don't have the bandwidth to to deal with it. But she's a person that, like, this is TikTok more, where like people are dumb. And both my daughters are on TikTok. So, excuse me. And I have a TikTok account. I hate it. I never post on it. But it seems to attract like a demographic that doesn't give a shit about truth. They just want to be entertained. And I guess if you entertain yourself enough, the stuff seeps into your brain and it takes hold and you start to believe it. I don't know. Maybe that's how it's working. People are dumb. Like, I think honestly that people are getting dumber for some reason. They don't have a lot of critical thinking skills, and they just accept what is fed to them because a person has a lot of followers, or they're entertaining, or they like the sound of what the person is saying, even if it's false. They don't care, right? No, I'm talking more about people who are my daughter's ages. In particular, I think people my age are a little bit younger, or a little bit more circumspect in those situations. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but Kira, that's the twirly girl. Her name, that's her name. Her content is also like just total shit. Like, she fear-mongers. She's like on a low vitamin A diet. Like, she says this stuff that is like physiologically untrue. Like, you don't get to make up your own science or your own facts about physiology. Like, you just don't. But yet these people, they feel like they're better than that. They know better than the scientists. It's just like, God, how can you get people to stop listening to these people and realize that they're being fed shit? But I just don't think people care that much.
Yeah, we're in the small corner over here, and that's what scares me. Okay, let's go into something that for a time did penetrate the mainstream consciousness. There was a recent documentary, The Biggest Loser documentary.
Oh my God.
Quote, healthy weight loss does not involve caffeine pills and being screamed at. That is your quote. Fire away.
Follow me on Substack. I'm just going to put that in there because I
please.
Brand new.
Please.
Yeah, and that post is actually on Substack. It was one of my first posts. I mean, I was appalled. Like, what can I say? The Biggest Loser, it just was so bad. Yes, some people lost weight and they think Bob, whatever his name, Harper is like the best person ever, and Jillian. But at the end of the day, we know that science says that shaming people into losing weight is not effective. It actually causes them to eat more. And these people were subjected to a very cruel experiment where they had to do challenges that were psychologically cruel, physically unsafe. I mean, this is not what health looks like. Health is not only what you weigh. Yes, if you're, obese to the point of where these people were, yes, there will probably be significant health effects from that. However, the answer isn't to starve or work out until you vomit. It's to implement healthy behaviors. And that not only includes the food part of it, but the movement part, the social part, the emotional part, the sleep part, regulating your mood part. Like, health is the combination of so many different things, but unfortunately, The Biggest Loser is the perfect example of how a focus solely on weight can be so destructive to human beings.
I recently had my friend Chris Powell on. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Chris, he was the host of, I know they changed name at some point, but it was Extreme Makeover Weight Loss Edition. And it was along that same wave. Now,
yeah,
I didn't see the show, but I know Chris's character, his personality, and we talk a bit about this. And I believe Chris is always someone who comes at it from a better place. And I do not believe that he is any way the same as the other people involved with Biggest Loser. But he said that you couldn't make that show in today's climate. Is that a positive thing? We've changed enough that we would no longer put that on television?
Yeah, of course. I mean, no question. Berating and demeaning people because of their weight or their appearance is just absolutely disgusting, and we do know better. Unfortunately, now with social media, like, it still happens. It's just not on network TV.
There. I think a lot of music is a great example of this. Less and less do we, as a society, uniformly consume the same music, movies, television shows, news media, etc. It's fragmented into different channels. And that's a reason why we've got a polarized society more than ever. But I like looking at it through the music lens. We no longer have the same gatekeepers. It's also true with social media and the fitness industry and the authorities. And I think this will help people understand why we are where we are. If you think about the way we used to consume music, where'd you get your music from? MTV, much music here, us Canadians, right? You would get it from the radio. And the record companies are actually paying for this now. I mean, shit. I just recently went to a Deftones concert, and I've loved the Deftones for 30 years. And I was walking around, and it was full of teenage girls. And I'm going, what the hell is going on? Two of my guys I know were there with their teenage daughters. And one was explaining to me, this is all they listen to, Korn and Deftones, and Sleep Token's newer. And apparently this is the thing. And it's largely due to TikTok. I remember when Metallica was on Stranger Things, and all of a sudden they're the biggest thing in the world. Kate Bush running up that hill, the biggest thing in the world. And it's fascinating to watch. And I don't know, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that related to, the way that we now consume, like fitness and nutrition media.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And it has its good sides and bad sides. I mean, we are more aware of our health and how it's impacted by food. We're more aware of menopause, and it's decreasing the decreasing the stigma of mental health. Excuse me. It's all, there's significant positive of that, the new way we consume media. The negatives are very clear. Obviously, there's a lot of misinformation. Everybody's now an expert, even if they're not. And it's very hard to police it. Like, everyone has should have the freedom to post whatever they want, but that really isn't true. Like, if you're posting stuff that's harmful mentally or physically to people, that should be removed, right? I think. And it's not. So there is a lot, I think, more objectionable content. I sound like an old person when I say that, but like a lot more content that I would say is dangerous to our well-being than there was before in terms of nutrition and health. And we just have access to all of that. So positives and negatives, but that's the case with everything in life, right?
And unfortunately, sometimes it's a very really received sentiment, but
Absolutely.
I think the thing that each person still has to do, I frame okay, personal responsibility. I'll frame it. The system isn't going to change quickly enough to save you. At a certain point, and you mentioned earlier, critical thinking skills. I treat everything I read on social media in any form with skepticism, especially anything that seems to approach something I tend to be biased towards. We all have our inklings. And those are the things I actually question the most. One of my big clearinghouses is, do I have qualified authorities that I trust over a long enough period of time? They've demonstrated that they are reliable, who is in their network. You know, again, I've been following your media for a long time, but you interact with or followed by a lot of people that I've known for a long time and trust. That is very validating, right? So that's actually one of the big things. I don't take it blindly, because every once in a while, someone who's a little dodgy gets into the grand network, but you know, you can usually tell. Thoughts?
Yeah, and then you unfollow them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know who to trust, though, right? And when people say, well, people need to do their own research, and you know, people often will comment that when I call somebody in, they'll say, just leave them alone. You know, people should be able to decide what they want to do. Oh, well, fuck no, they shouldn't. Because if some idiot is telling people to drink raw milk and give it to their babies, I'm sorry. But again, like, the average consumer doesn't know how to parse that information. They don't understand the research, or they don't know where to find it, and they don't understand about scientific consensus, and they don't understand about biochemistry or whatever. And so the average person is unable to do the level of research needed in order to make an educated decision about some of these topics, right? So I say to people, exactly, like, vet your sources, but you know, it's becoming increasingly difficult because a lot of sources that are bad are regulated health professionals, they're physicians or whatever. You know, check the scientific consensus. You know, what does the science say now? But we're being, you know, turned against science. Oh, the CDC so bad. You know, like, it's all paid for, and you know, there's so many conspiracy theories. It's like a shit show. So the average person, good luck to you, like, figuring out what's legitimate. Which is why I have basically dedicated my entire working career at this point to giving people like the solid evidence. And I always say to people, listen, you don't have to like what I say, and you don't have to follow my recommendation, but at least you'll read my stuff and make an educated decision for yourself about what works for you, what you want to do, instead of going in there blindly, right?
I think this discussion, we're going to get there, but it's hard to provide clear, definitive, authoritative answers. Say, here's all the solutions to how to deal with all this. I don't envy the people. I remember times when even at the beginning of my training career, 15 years ago, I remember reading the book Wheat Belly, and I'm like, oh my God, this is written by a doctor. This is so compelling. Gluten is bad. I fell for that. Then I pretty quickly got into evidence-based nutrition, and I almost forget, because it doesn't feel like it was a part of me, but I understand how compelling these narratives can be.
Yeah. Oh yeah, from a doctor. They have authority. All of the, you know, other doctors are giving them, like, recommending their books. Katie Couric is out there, like, having this person on. Like, it's very, very compelling. And again, like, it sounds like great science, but when you actually go to the citations, which I have done for several books, including The Plant Paradox by that guy, Gundry. Oh my God. The science behind their theories, well, they're just theories. The science is so underwhelming. And often, like, as I found with The Plant Paradox, the citations didn't even make fucking sense. Like, they weren't even related. So, but people see citations and they think, oh, it's science. This guy must know what he's talking about.
The one that pops up a lot for me is I keep seeing, and every once in a while, somebody in my comments will recommend read the obesity code. That's Dr. Jason Fung. Now, he's a nephrologist. He's a kidney specialist. There's no specialized training in nutrition. He
fat shamed another doctor at a conference online. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, again, like, they have these fringe ideas. And I'm not saying that fringe is necessarily bad, but with nutrition, like, the vast majority of people are not going to benefit from that. It's going to just cause more fuckery with their health and be unsustainable. So, you know, I don't know.
I have a lot of empathy for the confused, overwhelmed, desperate person. And again, obesity statistics are what they are. Metabolic health statistics are what they are.
Yeah.
Okay, let's tie this in. Do you have anything basic, actionable, fundamental, the people you work with, all the noise we just talked about, that you would say, hey, if you'd focus on these things, your life's going to get better?
The one thing I tell people all the time is not to major in the minors, but people consistently do that. So this means that, what I've seen is that people tend to gravitate towards the next big thing, the next big diet or supplement, and they don't have the nutrition basics down. So that shit's not going to help you. The nutrition basics: build your meal around protein and plants. Get at least 20, 25 grams of fiber a day. Don't drink so much fucking booze. I mean, people go fucking bang on about, oh, it's so toxic. Oh, crumble cookies. Yeah. Do you drink alcohol? Because that's an actual toxic, right? Actually asked someone that on Instagram today. Wonder if they responded to me. Probably not. Get exercise as much as you're able, like, move your body, not for weight loss, but for overall metabolic health. Decrease your intake of ultra processed food, but really, like, eat some vegetables, some fruit, and have a varied diet. Stop trying to game the system. There's no gaming the system. The system has been around ever since people have been on this planet. No one has ever successfully gamed it or hacked it. It works the way it works. Our gut bacteria likes fiber. Our body needs protein for basically every process it does. Too much alcohol is toxic for our liver and for our systems. Like, the recommendations are so boring, but never changed. And people find that objectionable, but it's actually like, you're still not following them.
And that's the key, is not following them. You get all this rancor about the food guides and whatever. Yeah. It's like,
nobody ever
do you think the average American or Canadian ever came close?
I just posted a citation in one of my reels about that, because that's what people say. Oh, we're sick because, food pyramid. And it's like, no one ever fucking followed that. And you know it. Here's the evidence that nobody ever followed it, but they don't care.
Is alcohol on the food pyramid? I don't think so.
No, probably not.
No. Okay. Cortisol tester, home cortisol testers.
Oh, no. We're really hitting all of them today.
Okay. I mean, on a degree of like 1 to 100, how much bullshit is a home cortisol tester?
101.
Okay. So what's going on?
Okay, so cortisol is a hormone that is, we refer to it as the fight or flight hormone, and it mediates our stress response. It also does a lot of great things in our body, like it helps us get up in the morning. We talk about cortisol spikes as if they're like some catastrophic health problem, but cortisol goes up and down through the day. And these are just transient shifts that the average healthy person, or even slightly unhealthy, can handle. Our bodies, that's what they do, right? So there are diseases that or conditions that involve high or low cortisol, like chronically. But those are, Cushing syndrome, Addison's disease. They need help, like a doctor, not like a cortisol tester. Like there's no clinical relevance um, in testing your cortisol levels throughout the day. Like you're just going to see them going up and down. And if they're a little bit high, like it doesn't mean there's something wrong. It just means that you're in like a place in the day where it's higher, or you're excited, or you're happy, or you just worked out. But none of that is detrimental to health. Yes, chronically high cortisol from extreme stress or trauma can be a health problem, but the majority of us don't have that level of stress or trauma. And even then, like the answer again is not like a home cortisol test. It's taking care of the stress that causing this, right? There's nothing like a cortisol diet or cortisol detox smoothie. Like none of that works. But yet there are tons of people trying to sell them.
I guess grifters will grab onto virtually anything, right?
Yeah, because they want to scare you and make you think that a normal physiological process is harmful and that you're currently being harmed and this is a problem, and they're going to sell you the solution. This is like wellness industry 101.
Okay, so we've got people grifting on menopause because that all of a sudden got huge the last few years.
Oh, yeah.
And to cap off what we were saying earlier, there are people with legitimate credentials who have gone sideways on it. So I understand why that's hard to figure out. But I've covered that topic a lot on podcasts. Yeah. And now we've got cortisol. Cortisol's been a buzzworthy thing the grifters have gone into for a while. Is there anything you think will be next, or anything that's starting to bubble that you think, this is grifter like territory, they're going to grab onto it?
Well, GLP-1s, and not only GLP-1s, but like oral GLP-1 agonist supplements, where I posted something a few weeks back about a company that's marketing entirely to women, like their entire grid is women, very aesthetic. And one of their reels that they published on their page and got their page shut down was, and I put it into my reel, two young girls, like women, who were obviously were of normal body weight, and talking about taking these oral GLP-1s from this company to, like, get ready for a vacation or an event. And it was so disturbing. I could not hold my fire, but I think this is actually the next thing is GLP-1 oral medications, which are not effective, period. They don't have the same or even close to the efficacy of the injectable. Compounded GLP-1 agonist medications, which are not regulated, especially, and not the same as like the injectables. Some of them are fine and some of them could be contaminated. So they compounded medications may use the same ingredients as the actual medications, but they're made at a compounding pharmacy. And, they don't have the same quality control. It could, as Amanda Thiepp says, they could be mixed with mouse shit and sawdust and you would never know. Whereas like if you go to a pharmacy and get your GLP, like your Ozempic, it's has tight quality control. So yeah, I think like the marketing of different types of GLP-1s that are more accessible to people who don't qualify by online companies is humongous, and it's gonna get bigger because a lot of people want to lose weight and it's trendy and they don't qualify for the drugs or they can't afford the GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic or Wegovy, and they may like qualify, but compounded ones are cheaper, which is a huge problem and like needs to be fixed because everyone who qualifies for them and wants to take them should be able to access them 100%.
All right. Last question. Protein powders full of heavy metals. I know you posted about this one too. And this one popped up a while ago. I know you touched on it recently. I know that that's a big, grifter fear-mongering thing. They're very anti-protein powders. They'll be like, oh, it's ultra processed.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's really going on?
Okay. So, I mean, it is true that a certain brand of protein powder, I believe, was found to have high levels of contaminants like lead in it. However, this doesn't mean that you should never eat protein powder. I think, protein powder is ultra processed, but who cares? It helps a lot of people get adequate protein in their diet. And so it's not a big, like, as long as it's not your sole source of protein, let's go for variety here, people, and not, try to cut food out. I believe what you're referring to is when people, was a protein powder that a company that said that or some company saying that the levels that all of these protein powders contain like heavy metals in them. But the reality of the situation is most of your food contains heavy metals. They come from the soil. They come from different places. They're naturally occurring in your food. So in fact, just because there is a minuscule amount of like whatever heavy metal, molybdenum in your food or whatever it is in your food does not mean that it's toxic. And it's just like a twisting of the science in order to promote a product. So it's a huge red flag. I mean, when you see a company disparaging another company's products, and in this way, it's most certainly a grift. Like this company, these products are like really bad and they're poisonous and they're toxic and there's no quality control, but our product is better. That's like a huge red flag. And it's unethical as well. You want to give your money to those people? Ugh, awful.
Well, that's what Twirly Girl was doing in Costco. She was recommending Nutella bad, this hazelnut spread better because it has less ingredients. And I don't think she was selling it. Who knows? Maybe she actually has an influence.
She's not Bobby Parrish. Bobby Parrish, where he recommends things and then gets a kickback, and then doesn't declare it, which is illegal. But but the reasoning is just so it's absurd, right? Fewer ingredients or the presence of certain things that are naturally occurring in a food. These are meaningless in terms of nutrition. And often what these people are selling is a product that's not superior nutritionally, but is way more expensive. And it's just all grift. Again, that word comes up a lot in our conversation and unfortunate.
I've been around the skeptical Facebook groups for long enough. And the origins of this stuff, this is all Vani Hari, the food babe stuff.
Oh, boy.
Her, David Oddcutter-Wolf, Dr. Joseph Mercola, there's another really bad one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. And they're the ones who did this stuff before social media was really viral. Yeah. And they would demonize something. I mean, I remember the food babe. She went on the crusade to get the yoga mat chemical. And I can't even pronounce it, out of Subway bread. Now, this was an inert chemical. Inert, but she zeroed in on it. And big campaign, and Subway capitulated. They took it out of there. And guess what? There's the playbook born, and she kept doing it with other crap.
And she's doing it now, right? Red dyes. Listen, those are safe. And nobody's eating their diet entirely of fucking red icing and candy hearts. Like, we consume such small amounts, and then someone will come and say, well, kids these days, all they eat is soda and chips and, like candies with red dye. Like, that's a separate problem. Why is that happening? To make people healthy, you have to address the systemic issues, food access, health care access, education, like all of that. Just removing dyes and fear mongering about perfectly safe chemicals is not going to help people. It's just going to make it worse, really.
Last thing on that. I remember, and I don't know where this was. It was on your media, but a long time ago, I saw someone, they had posted a video of taking a bag of cereal and they put a magnet by it. And then here comes out some, some metal or whatever. Now, my guess is they probably,
zipper. That girl little zipper.
And they probably seeded it anyway. But guess what? Breakfast cereals are usually fortified with shit like iron. We need that. We need that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it's all sensational, right? It's all performative, it's sensational, and it's getting worse. So be careful about who you listen to, right? You don't want to trust your health to these people.
Well, I think the people listening are already drinking our brand of Kool-Aid, Red Giant all. But hopefully this episode will be something fun for the person in your world who maybe, then again, probably going to set their hair on fire if they follow any of the numerous people we called out today, which is different. But anyway, let's get them onto your media first. So your Substack, everybody can follow you on Instagram at Langer Nutrition, Langer Nutrition. Is there anywhere else you want to send people?
The Substack is called Bite Me, period. I know, it's so crazy. I guess you can follow me on Facebook. Do people do that anymore? Abby Langer Nutrition. My website is abbylangernutrition.com, and I see private clients one-on-one. Just go to my website and you can get more information about that.
If you're listening to this, and if you're frustrated about all the same shit we are, you help by taking people who are really good communicators. And guess what? Abby's playing the game. You play the game well. You get views, and you do it by sharing better information. And sometimes it's, I've seen sometimes people coming at you with shit, and you made of tougher stuff than I am because I don't like playing those games, but you're doing good stuff. So I appreciate you taking the time to come on here. Guys, go follow her, please.
My pleasure. Thank you.